Again, Samuel Sejak. Nsabidde ono okubagamba nti asobola okubuuza ekibuuzo kye mu Luganda akibuuze tewali buzibu obubaka busobola okutuuka. We twogera kati nsaba mukulu Kalanzi rooms zaffe zibeere nga ziri ready kubanga item eddako gye tugendamu. Ate nsaba okwaniriza ab'ebitiibwa bano abajja okubanga batuwa obubaka obuddako. Owekitiibwa Mariam Mayanja nkakasa okuwoli ku mukutu agenda kugenda mu bya bulimi agriculture. Omukulu Peter Luyombya weteeketeekera okubeera ng'oli mu karoom aka Diaspora Returnees okulima farming. Mrs. Lilian Sentamu naawe real estate. Ate Mr. Chris Chibalama ono ye wa bya teknolojia mu Buganda. Ate tuina owekitiibwa Prosperous Nanchindu ono wa bya healthcare bya bulamu. Kale no mbasaba tweteketeeke tulinda rooms ezo. Okay. Nga bwe tulindirira ako obubaka obuddako nsaba tufuneyo akayimba kamu kokka bwe kati abantu bawuute ku kazzi katono kanonyo buli omu afune ku tuzzi awuuteko. Ate tukomewo nga tugenda mu rooms butereevu. Okuvaawo tujja kufunayo kama break nga tuvudde mu rooms ate awo tufune obubaka okuva ew'Omutaka Gayuule. Mbaaniriza nnyo ddala mbasaba mukole update eya Zoom. Oyinza okubanga rooms ojja kuziraba nga tulina update. Osobola okukola update quick bw'ali ku wifi osobola okubanga ofuna obubaka obw'obusenge. Ebibuuzo mu Luganda bikkiriziddwa era tewali mutawaana. Awo tujja kubanga tutegeragana. Weni
tweyanziza nnyo ssebo mukungu mwami Muga okututwala mu kiseera kino. Mwami Muga bw'atugambye tugenda kwetegekera okugenda mu busenge. Mu busenge obwo tujja kubeeramu ne ba moderators ab'enjawulo. Tujja kusuubira omwami mukungu Muyimba Lawrence Muyimba okubeera nga moderatinga program eya agriculture. Tusuubira omwami Beka Kiyingi okubeera nga ali mu farming by Diaspora Returnees mu kasenge ako. Tusuubira moderator mwami Sengoba okubeera mu kasenge ka investing in real estate. Tusuubira moderator Zinunula Serumaga okubeera mu kasenge akanaabeeramu ebya harnessing of power of and information technology. Ate era tusuubira moderator Mukungu Rehema Nabukeera awamu n'omukyala Namutebi okubeera nga bali mu kasenge ka healthcare. James.
Nga muwulidde ngenda bawummuzaamu katono nnyo buli omuntu afune olwendo lw'otuzzi ate tusobola okubanga tugera mu item eddako ey'obusenge. Bw'oba nga tusobodde kwefunira kasenge host ajja kuba akutwala mu kasenge kasuubira okuba nti kajja kukunyumira. Tusobole okubanga buli omu afuna obubaka mu buli nsonda waali. Tulina abantu ab'enjawulo abatweyunzeeko kuva mu nsi ez'enjawulo mwena tubaaniriza nnyo ddala. Bw'oba ng'osanze program yatambudde dda enteekateeka yonna gye tuyiseemu egenda kukwatibwa eteekebwe ku mukutu ogwa YouTube ogwa Buganda UK ate ne Facebook page eya Buganda UK. Ebintu ebyo jja kale by'osinza okuba nga tofunye kubanga ndabyewo abadde bagamba nti presentation ng'eya Professor n'agisanga luddawa. Emikutu weegiri Buganda UK ku Facebook ne YouTube. Ensonga ezo zijja kuba nga zigendako. Akayimba keninda ku side eddako tutambule. Yes, abalungi mbaniza mukulikeyo mu kayimba ako. Item eddako yakuyingira bisenge naye tugenda kubaawayo ku video kulaga engeri y'enkozesa ey'ebisenge bino tulabe nti buli omu tafika. Twandibadde tusobola obikola bwonna wamu wano naye program ejja kuba nga mpanvu. Olaba nti twasalawo buli omu afune item gy'asobola okuba nti alinamu interest. Banyabo mutusaasire mu katono tekinologiya akyerobyemu katono. Wetwogerera ku program item ebadde eddako ya busenge naye engineer bali mu kwetala okulaba nti ekintu kitereera. Tekinologiya bw'atyo bw'akola bw'abeera nga ali ku side yo aba mulungi naye bw'agaana mu katono ayinza okukola kino. Okulokola ku budde tugenda kukola bwe tutyo kasube nti Omutaka yeeteeseteese ayingidde. Nate tubetondera okuba nti tekinologiya alina kyatukoze kyetegekere. Tugezaawo okulaba nti tukwata ku budde. Mu kukwata ku budde program egenda kukyukamu obusenge tugenda kubuvaako. Presentation zigenda kukoma wano mu plenary wano buli omu abeere ng'asobola okubaako kyalaba naye zigenda kubeera mu bufunze obw'ekitalo. Naye nga tukyalindira ekyo nga Omutaka Gayuule bw'alabise ngenda kusaba tufune presentation gy'aleese ate tulyoke tuddeyo ku item eddako.
Saalongo kwendi.
Omutaka tukwaniriza nnyo ddala Omutaka Kayiira Gayuule. Nkakasa nti ompulya bulungi side awooli.
Esebo kulya bulungi.
Amina. Okay. Twakulindiridde dda era obubaka bwonna bwetise abantu amatu bateze.
Wow. Nsanyuse okubeerako nammwe ku mukutu guno ogwa Zoom nga mukoze olukuŋŋaana luno olw'2020 olukwata ku bannaffe oba bazzukulu baffe abawangaalira eyo mu Euro. Kyamukisa nti ebintu byammwe oba empuliziganya yammwe ebadde ekola bulungi nnyo era eyamba ennyo Obwakabaka okulaba nti tulina we tutuuka. Nansonyiwa katono nkeereye mbadde mu mikolo ate naadde ndowooza ssaawa 4 ez'eno tebaasoose zinzikira. Naye mu ngeri emu njagala kubasaasira olw'ekirwadde ekisaasaanidde ensi yonna ekya COVID-19 ekyaleetamu okuziŋŋama. Naye ndowooza kaŋŋambe nti Omuzungu atuyambe nnyo bwe yateekawo enkola eno eya tekinologiya eya Zoom okubanga tuwuliziganya era nga twakubye tukwanyisiganya awamu naffe. Kusooka byonna ku lwange ne ku lwa baganda bange abataka abali eno njagala kubeebaza ennyo olw'enkolagana ennungi gye mulina ne bajjajjammwe bakulu b'ebika era tubasuubiramu bingi naddala amagezi agasobola okubeera nga gakulaakulanya ebika byaffe. Twesigama ku nnono nga bwe mujjukira abamu oba bwe mumanyi Obwakabaka bwaffe oba ennono y'obwakabaka bwaffe yeesigama nnyo ku byenkulaakulana oba ku byenfuna ate n'obuwangwa nga tukola emirimu nga bwe mugimanyi abamu ka kirina omulimu gwekikola mu bwakabaka nga naye ekyo kigendererwamu okuvuganya okukolera awamu okulaba nga tuzimba oba tukuuma Namulondo yaffe. Njagala kwebaza ennyo naddala abakulembeze ku mitendera egy'enjawulo abazzukulu abali eyo olw'enkolagana ennungi. Tulina ekirwadde mu Buganda nti abamu bwe baba basituka ate abalala nga basika bannaabwe nga babazza wansi, naye mmwe munda z'omutima nti ekyo si kye muli era nsaba kireme bbakwata kubanga alinga kansa. Ekyo kiziŋŋamya Obwakabaka era kiziŋŋamya n'ebika byaffe. Nsaba tuwagiragane mu buli nsonga yonna gye tukola, naddala ekulaakulanya nnyaffe Buganda n'okukuuma Obwakabaka nga weebuli. Kuba ku mulembe gwaffe guno singa Obwakabaka busaanawo nga weetuli ne tutandika okusoma obusomwa mu bitabo nti awo waliwo Obwakabaka, nze ndowooza ne gye tuliba twebase oba tugalamidde amalalo gaffe bwe kukubwa. Njagala tukolere wamu ng'abaana ab'endeemu, tulabe nga tulafuubana, tweggyemu obuggya, tweggyemu obukyayi, tweggyemu effitina, naddala nga tukwata ku nsonga zaffe ezikwatira wamu. Abali eyo ffe abali eno abawangaalira eno tulaba naffe ab'ebitundu ebirala wabaawo ensonga yonna, kebeze mu bubi kebeze mu bulungi, bonna babeera bumu. Ekyatubulamu wano mu Buganda naddala ffe Abaganda, naye nsaba nga bwe tuli mu lukiiko luno tulabe nga ffenna tuyambagana, tugatte obwongo okulaba nga tufuna oba nga tuwona okusabiriza oba nga tuwona okulindirira buli kaseera gundi tuwe gundi tuwe. Nze ndowooza obumu bwaffe nga tubukozesezza buli kimu kisoboka. Nze ku lwange ne ku lw'abajjajja abalala be ndowooza nti tulina ng'Abataka, kuba nkiikirira era Abataka, ndowooza bwe tubeera nga ffenna tuwuliziganya nga bwe tukoze empuliziganya eno mu lukiiko luno, kijja kwongera okubeerawo nga tugabana amagezi, tulabe nti tutuuka ku lyengedde. Sijja kwogera bigambo bingi nnyo bisukkako awo, naye njagala bakubiriza okulaba nti bannammwe bazzukulu bannammwe n'abantu abakulu abali eno be mba mufunye akakisa ne mwogerako nabo mubategeeze nti obumu ge maanyi, mubategeeze nti baleme kuweebwa buweebwa kinnyanja, naye banoonye amagezi agafuna eddobo basobole okwevubira. Mubategeeze nti bwe tunaabeera nga tutambula nga ffenna tuwagiragana, tujja kubaako ebirungi bye tusobola okwekolera. Ndowooza ekyo kijja kutuyamba ffenna awamu okubeera nga tweyagalira mu Bwakabaka bwaffe, nga tweyagalira mu nsi yaffe, ate nga tulina n'eddembe, buli muntu ly'alisabye abeere nalyo. Njagala okusembayo okwebaza mwenna abadde mu lukiiko luno olw'okuwaayo obudde okulaba nti twongera okukubaganya n'okuwangana amagezi okusobola okuzimba nyaffe Buganda ne Uganda okutwalira awamu. Nsaba muleme kujja okwo, twongere bwongezi, twongeremu amaanyi nga tuwa amagezi, nga tuwagiragana, nga kijja tuyamba Ssaabasajja Kabaka so mukuuma obulungi. Ssaabasajja Kabaka awangaale.
Bakola ebintu ebitalina kukolebwa naye kati batuyigiriza engeri gye tukwatamu omuntu ng'afunye obuzibu ne tumuwa obujjanjabi obusooka nga tetunaamutwala mu malwaliro.
I've learned more about the CPR.
Bagamba osooka n'omukubamu emirundi ebiri n'okola n'ekiro kyongenda okukola. Osobola okufuna katugambe akatto wakkiro n'omuteekayo wansi n'akuba okwo kazazanya okuba ku siminti.
Tusomye ebintu bingi tubadde tumanyi era kyamazima tetuzzeeyo nga bwe twazze.
You've added value to us, in more saving lives.
What I noted about the community is that the community has a lot of misconceptions about some diseases and conditions.
Neebazizza nnyo ekitongole kino ekya First Aid First Hand eky'okujja okutusomesa obujjanjabi obusookebwako.
We thank God that you've come within the area.
Kyamazima First Aid First Hand byetusomesezza bya makulu nnyo.
Whatever you've taught, I've learned, I'm going to put it in practice.
Toyanza nnyo, toyanzirige Jjajja Kayiira Gayuule obubaka bw'owetisse. Wetwogera programu yakyusa tono nnyo era tugenda kugivuga ku misinde gyayiriire okulokola ku budde. Wetutunuulira ekiddako tugenda kubanga tufuna presentations nga bwengendo zisoma wano. Tujja kutandika n'omukulu Peter Luyombya ate anaddako ajja kubeera ow'ekitiibwa Hamis Kakomo nga ono azze mu bigere bya ow'ekitiibwa Mariam Mayanja. Then tujja kubanga tufuna Namulondo Investments ate ow'ekitiibwa Nankindu naye ajja kubanga agoberera mu line eyo. Wetwogerera Winnie nkusaba otuyitire omukulu Peter ate tugende maaso.
Neyanziza nnyo ssebo mwami Muga. Omwami ono gwe tugenda okuyita kati ye mwami Peter Luyombya. Mwami Peter Luyombya mwana nzaalwa ya wano naye yasalawo okudda Uganda, okudda Buganda okukola emirimu egiri e Uganda. Mu kaseera kano tubadde tusaba tufune presentation eva ewa mwami Peter Luyombya.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Luyombya. I'm here in wonderful Uganda, and it's a pleasure to talk to you at the Buganda Convention 2020 about my life here in Uganda and the challenges I've faced, especially in farming. I came here originally in 2008, and to be honest, I didn't envision I'd stay here this long. I thought it would just be a brief journey in my life. I was born and raised in UK and from Ugandan parents. My clan, I'm a Muganda, Balangira clan, and to be honest, I felt like a British citizen complete, so I didn't really see myself returning to Uganda at all. But in 2008 things changed, financial crisis hit. I went to university in UK and studied actuarial studies, so I envisioned myself in the financial sector. So I had no history on farming at all. But eventually I came back to Uganda in 2008, and I was lucky enough to acquire a piece of land in Gayuule, Kayiira. This was some time back, but I mean, it was an opportunity that I couldn't say no to, and I'm happy that, especially now, of what actually has transpired. And to be honest, I mean, the first few months was the hardest. I'd say by the time it came to about 2012, that's when I really started living my life in Uganda. Not to say that it was a disappointment, but it took me time to assimilate, to build up the courage, because it really does take a lot of courage to start life in Uganda. But the 8 years I've been here, I've been involved in different sectors, obviously agriculture, but the education sector, healthcare, now involved in manufacturing and retail. And to be honest, what I learned in farming has actually helped me immeasurably. And as a result, I feel that things have actually gone better than I've expected. So when I first came over and first started farming, I mean, the first day that I remember going there, it was daunting. I mean, I remember the plane ride from UK to Uganda, feeling like this isn't what I want to do, but I know there was something in me. I'm quite stubborn and persevered, but it didn't compare to the first day when I left Kampala to go to Gayuule. So business at the end of the day, in Uganda it has its challenges, but I was able, by making contacts, to meet prominent business individuals, and they kind of gave me the courage and the motivation. One man who I ran into through my father was a gentleman called Paul Serukenia, and I can't even begin to explain how much he kind of influenced me. So about Gayuule, the land that we acquired was 1 square mile, or just over. It's 670 acres. It was right next to the lake. When I arrived, it was just bush, thorny bushes, savanna region. It's on the cattle corridor. And I remember going there to visit the place when we first bought it with an agronomist, and he gave me a sound piece of advice. Initially, I wanted to get involved in biofuel, a plant called Jatropha. So I came with the idea that this is what I want to do. I want to grow Jatropha, and I'm going to make oil and do something completely different. Boots on the ground, things changed very quickly. I remember he looked at me and he said, "Do you want to start growing with Jatropha? Are you sure it will grow there?" I said, "Well, we've done the soil tests. I don't see why not." But the first thing he said was, "Look, when you start farming, grow what's on the land, grow what's in the region. Start there and learn the land, learn the area, learn the community. It's not just about going there and starting something from scratch. It's about building something, because what you'll find is that the land, it's not a set piece. It's not stationary. It's a physical thing." But the first thing he told me to get involved with is grow what's on the land. So we started with maize, and we didn't have any machinery at the time because I wanted to know whether or not we can manage. And I'm one of those individuals, the people that I work with, I want to be able to do whatever they're able to do. I want them to see that I'm not just some Mzungu who's come from outside and started, you know, growing on the land. And it was something that I heard from a lot of people. Everyone expected us to fail. We had to deal with so many different challenges, things I had no idea. We had Nile monitor lizards. These were the things which didn't come in the handbook when you're reading about farming. But I mean, you had to learn just to kind of be courageous. But these were the things that you didn't anticipate. But it's a learning experience. But those 10 acres set us on our way. Because the following season we brought in the tractors, brought in bulldozers, cleared the land. And that was a big project because it was 150 acres that we cleared the first time. And when we cleared it, I thought everything was fine. I thought, okay, fantastic. Tractors came in, planted the maize. Thought, okay, we can now move on from here. 2 days after clearing, the first thing I realized was that some grass and the weeds had already started coming out, and that was the next challenge. But the following season we cleared more land, and you know, it became a big project which we were proud of. As well as getting involved in maize, we also started raising goats. It's quite profitable. I wish I'd got involved in it a lot earlier, but we were raising goats which we predominantly sell during the festive season. And then we're now starting a breeding program, intensive breeding program. So we hope to see that succeed as well. Aside from that, we were able to introduce ourselves to two prominent companies. We realized when we did testing on our product, the maize that we're producing, it was actually very good for baby food. So we approached two companies, Mayanja Millers and East African Basic Foods. And we approached them and said, look, we were able to provide you with a product, maize, on a consistent basis. And I think they were quite happy by the quality and the message that we're bringing forward. In that, number one, we weren't reliant upon them having cash straight away. We really wanted to veer away from that. With the companies that we're working with, what they've previously been doing was acquiring a lot of their products, maize and grain, from brokers. And what they do is that they go into the village and then they pick them from various farms. What they liked about us was that we were able to provide them a product which was consistent. And because it was from one garden, we can guarantee that the first truck we bring to them was going to be the same as the 15th truck. And that was convenient, and it was something that they liked. And that's something that I think other farmers can try and employ, especially those who want to get into commercial farming. We then, well, I've already mentioned the fact that we had tractors and other such things, but a lot of those we sourced from outside, from UK. We're very fortunate in that we were able to get things quite cheap, bring them in duty-free, and then use them here. But what you have to do, and this is very important, is you have to get machinery certified, like manufacturer certified mechanics, people who know how to handle these big machines, because the first thing that will happen is that you start work, you need to service the machine, you spend a lot of money, and either it breaks down. The worst time is during the planting season, where you need someone at the drop of a hat to turn up. The last thing you want to be doing is faffing around trying to find someone who can come and fix your tractor. And the worst thing you can do is leaving it in the hands of someone who will claim, and especially in Uganda, a lot of people will claim that they know what they're doing. They will never admit that, okay, I have absolutely no idea what's going on, and they'll do something and destroy what you have, and they won't care. During my time in Uganda, I've had to overcome many challenges, and I've learned not to be disheartened by failure. I think one of the challenges that I found in Uganda was that it was quite extreme. Not only the environment, the community, but it was, I mean, the community actually helped me. They saw me after a while as not just a Mzungu, but someone who wanted to build the community and help it thrive. It wasn't just there to make money. So we set up a 20-acre banana plantation in Blamezi, which is in Wobelenzi. This was family land. Obviously we had some issues when starting, but this was land that was left unused. And we took advantage of that situation. Slowly started to build it up, and 2 years later we're reaping the benefits. But as in maize, we didn't want to just sell it to brokers, so I set up a small market here in Kampala where we sell our matoke. After the success of the market, I actually felt that it was time to kind of start something different. So we started rearing chickens. First it was a hobby. We're rearing broiler chickens, which are voracious eaters. And we found that we actually had quite a good market for that, selling it outside. And it's something that is kind of unexpected.
Or each entrance has what we call the foot bath for us to disinfect ourselves. As you may see, for everyone who comes in, you're supposed to disinfect just to keep the biosecurity measures in place. Because we move in different areas, they may carry disease-causing vectors to our farm. So these ones, they are now 4 months, or they have reached their selling age. They were 300, and now I think we have like 80 to 90 left. So just as I told you, we need to keep constant market. We don't just give them or we all sell them at once. So what we do, like in a day we may sell like 3 to 2, depending. But we need to keep supplying each and every day. That's why we just have to retail them. Just as you saw in front there, that's where we normally put them for the retail. So these are the older ones which are being sold. Just as I told you, we normally have in different stages. As these ones are going out, we normally have those other levels.
But it's leading us into other things. So we're also going to be, I bought some fish boats. So we're going to be also selling fish here in our market and other products. So hopefully this will blossom. So as I said before, it was very difficult to find people who you can trust. So by bringing in, and especially young people, my farm manager, this is a man who's now running a 670-acre farm. He graduated from Makerere. He had no experience in farming, and he graduated in psychology.
My name is Juko Regan. I work for Peter Luyombya. I work for St. Paul's Farming in Gayuule, and I did psychology at Makerere University. And why I'm the best person for farming is because I know how to interact with people.
So at the time, everyone was just like, why are you employing him? Why are you giving him the keys to the kingdom? But what I actually found was that his skills were quite transferable. Number one, he was open-minded and he was a voracious learner. But there are other considerations that you have to take into account when considering moving to Uganda. One of the things is the lifestyle. Uganda is a beautiful country. It's a country with so many opportunities. We've never looked back. I mean, people come and then see what we're doing, and I think they don't appreciate the quality of life. But everything that you want in UK is here. Everything you want in Europe is here.
The North London Seventh-day Adventist Family and Friends Worship invites you to join us for a family and friends Sabbath worship every Saturday of the week. Bible study and prayers start at 9:30 a.m. UK time. Your main host is Omulangira Pastor Blesius Mutebi Kalemera, supported by various guest preachers. Come pray, praise and worship the Lord and make friends every Sabbath. Live on Zoom. Zoom ID 777-789-2020.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Soko tubuzeeko ssebo.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter Luyombya. It's a pleasure to speak to you all. I'm here in wonderful Uganda. Unfortunately, I can't be with you there in UK. I'm not in lockdown, but it's a pleasure to introduce to you, myself to you and show you my story. I know you've all got questions. One of the things I've learned in UK is that a lot of people have a lot of interest in the agricultural sector in Uganda. They want to know what they can do, what they can achieve. 12 years ago, I had, I would say, a dream. I wouldn't say I was discouraged by my family. I think they were a little bit apprehensive, but they gave me the opportunity and said, look, if you want to do this, I think it's something that's ideal. So I took that leap and came to Uganda, and I've never looked back. It's a pleasure to talk to you all today. And obviously, for you to understand my story, you've obviously seen the video, but there is a lot more that you have to take into account when moving from UK to Uganda. Everyone wants to take that journey. People see it as something, a hurdle that they can't overcome. But in the 12 years that I've been here, the first 4 years are the hardest. The initial phase is always the hardest. Whatever you're doing, it's always hard. But if you persevere, you can achieve your goals. But it's about taking what we've learned in Europe, in US, outside of Uganda, and bringing that experience and that understanding and that the drive and bringing it back to Uganda. I'm from the generation of Ugandans who were born by Ugandan parents who moved to UK. So we lose that connection. So for all of a sudden, you have the opportunity to come back, to bring your skills, to bring that structure and discipline and bring it to Uganda. It's so important. Uganda had, over the last 20 to 30 years, had basically a loss of skills, as a lot of our people have moved out to UK to basically improve themselves and advance their careers, and their families have been brought up there and they lose that connection. But it's important that people understand that they can come back to Uganda and achieve something, especially something like farming. Because you will find that a lot of the people here, a lot of the rich people in Uganda, surprisingly, they have acres and acres of commercial farms. And this is so important that people in the diaspora, with the access to things like machinery, to expertise, to bring that back to Uganda so that Uganda can thrive. Yes, you have the opportunity to make money, but it's so important that you take that leap. I think a lot of the people who left in the 60s and 70s, they're now coming to that age where they want to return, they want to get involved in agriculture. But it's very important that those people who are younger, people from my generation and younger than that, take that leap to come back to Uganda while they're still young and strong and able to basically deal with all the things, the elements that can bring you down, because it does take a lot. I came here at 26, 27, and now almost approaching 40. I'd like to think that I couldn't do it now. If someone asked me at this age to take that leap, to come back, I think it's quite difficult. I think a lot of people, they do come to me and they ask me, how can we do this? And how can we get involved in farming? I have to be quite objective. I have to be honest. It's so difficult. The challenge is there, but you have to be willing to meet it. And that involves experiencing failure. Because one of the things you will do when you first come is that you will fail again and again and again and again. But if you keep on going, if you have that, that drive, you will achieve something. And as I said before, Uganda is such a beautiful country. The lifestyle is incredible. The amount of expats, and so I'm talking about white people who are not non-Ugandans who come back to Uganda, and you find them in piggery. They're spending millions of dollars in piggery, in dairy cows, and all sorts of things, right? Animal husbandry, even crop. And they're making money. Yet I tend to find there's very few people, Ugandans, true Ugandans, want to come back and make that journey. Peter? And when you talk to those expats, they don't want to do it. I mean, if you talk to the expats, they don't see a reason why they should be in UK. So, I mean, I'd like to hear people, obviously people have questions, I'm prepared to answer them, whether technical or not. So, yeah, I pass it on to the moderator, and I'll wait your...
Okay, Peter, we can have you all day. Kubanga kirabika tawayiga okusomesa.
Yeah.
Beka Chinji, wabadde moderator owa kasenge kano, particularly, ngenda kusaba gwogenda okubuuza ekibuuzo kimu, kubanga obudde tulina butono, kubanga programs zakyuseemu nga bwe twalabye, teknologiya kyeyatukoze kyabadde kirungi nnyo. Beka, over to you.
Yes, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to actually thank you for that wonderful presentation. In Uganda, actually in Africa as a whole, we normally look at farming as, our mindset shows us that farming is for maybe the older generation or for the poor, but that's just a poor mindset. And this is something that people can get involved in. And I think as the people, or even parents, Sonia, there's a lot of parents, Sonia, you need to advise your youths to try and get involved in Africa, because us in the diaspora, we have the opportunity to be able to change Africa. So I'm very privileged and happy that I've been able to connect with this person. And the question I would like to ask you is, for those that are in the diaspora that want to get involved in farming, where can they go to actually learn about farming? Because you spoke about the challenges, you know, in Uganda. I know everyone says they know. If you ask anyone something, they will say, I know this, I know that, I know that. And sometimes they end up doing things wrong. So there are challenges, and you say you're going to fail and fail and fail, but you still have to keep at it. And me, I think Africa, this is the main thing that can get people rich. If you want to get rich, get into farming. And because you see coffee, look at the coffee, how much they charge. So if someone wants to get into farming, where can they go to learn about farming? Because obviously you went to Uganda for your holiday, but you ended up having a wonderful time, you know? So if someone wants to learn about farming, where is the best place to go to learn about farming? Because this is the thing that can get Africa rich.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. One of the things I did, I think it was mentioned earlier, that you get a lot of returnees who literally just jump in feet first. I think it's important you, number one, look for the technical expertise, the technical experts here in Uganda. So one of the things I did, I came back to Uganda and I went to the Ministry of Agriculture, go and speak to people at NADS, go to Ugandan Investment Authority. I have to admit, having listened to the people that have been speaking before, this is the first time I've actually been able to find out that the Buganda Kingdom actually has something in place whereby you can come and talk to people. At the time, that wasn't there. There are a lot of co-op groups that you can actually sort of source. They're either online, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on social media. But the most important thing is to identify individuals who have made a success within Uganda, and they're very open to talking to you. So when you come to Uganda, don't just come with the mindset like, this is what I want to do. Come with the mindset, be open-minded. Talk to the people that have actually been able to establish themselves. And what they'll do is they'll give you the, number one, like the framework, the platform as to where to start. So for someone now to come and talk to me, I'm very open to talk to people. I'm very open to sit down with them and give them my life experiences, but also to suggest ways in which they can improve what they mean to do. So if they want to get into piggery, having that experience is very important, that people have that contact, such as myself. A lot of the people in the diaspora, we're quite lucky in that we have people from the older generation who have established contacts, people that they went to school with. I mean, the number of times I meet people in the UK and they went to Buddo, they went to Gayaza, they did this, they did that. You come back to Uganda and you find that everyone seems to know them. They have that connection. So it's important to utilize that. Once you come back, even finding people like expats, they will give you as much information as you know. Knowledge is key. And then what I did was look for like these technical colleges or people who've come from the university. Those individuals are actually quite useful because they'll give you a little insight into what works in Uganda. Boots on the ground, things are very different. You may have ideas of what you want to do, but it's once you're here that you're actually able to kind of achieve that. But this kind of platform, such as this Buganda Convention, where we discuss these kind of issues, but also I heard someone talking about coffee farming. Right now I've heard from people within government that is something that government's trying to push and drive people towards, because there's a lot of money involved there. But as I said, you have to come over, you have to be willing to seek out those particular individuals, as well as the institutions like Uganda Investment Authority, the NADS group as well, and the other co-ops, and then see whether or not they can help you achieve what you want.
Tweyanzirege. Tujja kuddamu tufune obudde obulala nga bungiko.
Can you share his details in the group for those that want to connect with him? Can you share your details in the chat so that people can be able to connect with you?
I will do.
Okay. Webale nnyo, webale ddala. Okulokulokola ku budde program nga bwe yakyuse tugenda kufuna documentary emu eddako speed ate bwe tuvaayo Omutaka Namwama agenda kubanga ajja. Weni ojja kutuyitira Omutaka nga obudde butuuse. Right. Okay. Kibuuka, over to you.
My names are Hajji, Hamis, Mukasa, Kakomo, serving in the Buganda Kingdom government as Minister of State for Agriculture, Cooperatives and Trade. I work along with my senior minister, Hajji Mariam Mayanja Nkalubo, whom I'm sitting in for. She's in charge of land, agriculture, bulungi environment and cooperatives. The insights of the lucrative agricultural landscape in Uganda. This is the insight in the factors that make agricultural landscape in Uganda profitable. And the following are the insights. The availability of arable land, rich deep loam soils. Buganda is located along the equator, ensuring 2 seasons of crop production every year. Favorable climate, that is dry and wet with annual rainfall. High altitude favoring most crops. The viability of agricultural advisory services by the public and private organizations. For Buganda, we have Buganda Cultural Development Foundation, which is spearheading advisory services in agriculture and animal husbandry. We have improved varieties of crops and animal breeds released by the agricultural research institutions. Market access for both value-added and non-processed products. Buganda is still headstrong on being a food basket of Uganda and Eastern region. I want also to expound on the tools towards the lucrative landscape in Buganda. Gentle rolling hills that favor mechanization, like the use of tractors and combined harvesters. Abundant water bodies for irrigation and water for production. Power, that we have dams, we have located along the Buganda border on the River Nile. We have revamped rail transport with an inland container depot in Mukono. Industrial parks. Buganda and central government have earmarked areas of industrialization. Factors of processing agricultural produce, e.g. coffee factories, are running at 42% of their processing capacity. International agro-input suppliers like Bolton, Bukola, quality chemicals, those ensure access to quality inputs. International subsidiary quality equipment distributors and dealers like Brazza Afik, Delta, Alva Black have offices in the Buganda region. We have skilled, semi and unskilled labor easily accessible in and around the central business district, Kampala. The road network in Uganda is fairly improved is fairly improved, that movement of goods from rural farmlands is constant, 24 hours daily. The Kabaka has identified skilled, professional, qualified experts to guide investment and development in the kingdom. Products from these opportunities, I am now going to look at the products which can be realized from the mentioned opportunities. Crop production and value addition. The priority crops include coffee as a commercial crop. 5 reasons why you should grow coffee in Uganda. Coffee is in our culture, which we use in Kwanjula, like okutta mukago, okwalula abalongo, n'okwaniriza abagenyi. Price discovery. Coffee is one produce with the highest price discovery in Uganda. Even farmer in Nikomago Kyana Mukaka will get 5 buyers in a day. This one shows that coffee is really a product where you get market and fair price. As I have illustrated, a farmer in a rural area will get at least 5 prospective buyers in a day and then be able to decide whom to sell to. Coffee is helping us to ensure land security, where coffee is one crop that guarantees land for over 40 years. If a buyer is genuine and spots a coffee tree on a piece of land, they will first consult the neighborhood before making a payment. Growing demand. There is always a local and international demand growing. There is demand for coffee, especially in the Asian countries. Uganda Coffee Development Authority has recorded increase in that increase in the number of coffee shops from 2 in 1998 to 250 in 2018. This one shows the consumption of coffee is rapidly growing, not only internationally and locally. As I have illustrated, in 1998 we had only 2 coffee shops in Kampala, but today we have over 250 shops. Production of coffee is all the year. Once you want to be commercial, you want to get income throughout the year. And coffee is, if well maintained, will give you production at all the year through with the 2 major seasons. That is the fly crop, the main season, and the fly crop. That alternative, depending on the position, whether above or below the equator. Every part of coffee in the value chain is profitable from seed to cup. So the avenues of engagement are limitless. For the past 4 years, through Mwanterimba, which is a program started by the Buganda Kingdom for promoting the growth of coffee as a way of promoting livelihood income among the subjects of the Kabaka, we have empowered our 18 Buganda counties to grow coffee, which has seen an increase of 35% in coffee production and 30% increase on rejuvenated coffee trees. The Kingdom in August 2020 launched a company by the name of Mwanterimba Limited so that it is able to buy the coffee, which means when the production is high, it means there will be a lot of product on the market. And we don't want the subjects of the Kabaka to look for the market. This company, Mwanterimba Limited, is gearing up to be buying coffee from the subjects of Buganda and then export it outside, and also to make various value additions on it. The Kingdom, through Bukadev, is working with the 18 Masaza culture and clan heads to establish coffee wilt-resistant coffee nurseries to ensure adequate and accessible seedlings. Furthermore, Bukadev and Bikalu is Buganda investment arm, which is helping us to identify where to invest and to follow up investments, and also making partnership with the various prospective donors. This one is helping us to identify partners to set up mega agro import or one-stop shopping centers for each of the counties to buy the agricultural inputs. I will now look at the chances of producing banana in Buganda. First of all, in Buganda, banana production. Banana is looked at as a staple and a food crop. Reasons for growing matoke or plantation. Matoke is a staple crop in Buganda. This is guaranteed, there is a guaranteed market for your produce all the year. Matoke is a perennial crop. It will keep yielding. The banana grown in Uganda, particularly in Uganda, has been recorded to be the best taste compared with the one in the Brazilian and the Colombian plantations. This is attributed to the high altitude at which it is grown. There is growing demand. The population in Uganda in general and Uganda in particular is rapidly growing, and it also moving from rural to urban areas where consumption of food is highly needed. Therefore, demand for matoke for both local consumption and outside is growing. Value addition. Matoke is one of the very food crops that has piqued both local and international interest, as I have indicated. Intercropping banana with coffee. Banana and coffee intercrop has been researched and found to be the most sustainable intercrop. Therefore, the coffee for cash and the banana for food and cash, while both supplement each other for shade and ground cover. Another plant item I would like to look at, grain production, that is mainly maize. Maize in form of maize flour is consumed all around Uganda. The case in point is for more investment need in grain production and storage in the COVID-19 lockdown. For 4 months, there was illustrated shortage and need for more production and storage of grain. Grain production has been identified to be lacking to satisfy the demand from its neighboring countries. Kenya is the largest importer of Uganda's maize. The Buganda Kingdom has demystified the myth Abaganda si balunzi. The kingdom is targeting that each household has a livestock. We shall see also in the next. However, to ensure proper nutrition for increasing zero grazing farmers, there is growing demand for fodder and crop production. The kingdom is embarking on empowering all farm households to keep livestock as a source of protein and many others. The demand for dairy products is high. The products of milk have not been able to satisfy the few processing factories, and demand for such is growing. Therefore, the Buganda Kingdom is embarking on a campaign to make sure that the subjects of the Kabaka are not only growing coffee, cassava, and matoke, but in addition, do a lot of animal rearing as a way of getting income and a way of getting fertilizers from the animals and the birds. Piggery has piqued interest among the state dwellers, and the price of piggery is sometimes higher than the beef meat by over 2,000 to 4,000 shillings. Poultry is one enterprise that has also piqued interest. Following the end of the war in southern Sudan, a few entrepreneurs have been able to set up egg processing and value addition equipment. However, the suppliers are not able to satisfy the demand for the three equipment that were set up in the Buganda region, and yet the demand for Heruka is still increasing. Furthermore, since early 2000s, when Ugachik was in its formative stages, the country has seen increasing demand for processed chicken and chicken products. Tools to tap into lucrative agricultural landscape. The country is making its mark to contribute to the second millennium strategic development of zero hunger, to add our mark through the Ministry of Lands and Agriculture of the Kabaka government. We have put a 3-year matching grant to support producers and farmers to purchase and import mechanized farm production for value addition. These include equipment that cover farm production like tractors, water irrigation equipment, including pumps and fertilizers. In conclusion, dear listeners, the opportunities for lucrative agricultural landscape in the Buganda region is enormous and immense. This is mainly attributed to the increasing value addition supplement. This is mainly attributed to increasing value addition supplement to supplement the producers, farmers, adding value to their produce as well. As I said in my earlier remarks, that one of the problems we have had is that our producers have been facing problems of their products getting bad before they go to the market. But with the guidance to make value addition, we have all the hope that the subjects of the Kabaka will be able to sell some of the products when they are fresh, and if they are not able to go to the market when they are fresh, some value addition will help them to get the prices and the market when these goods value addition has been added. The kingdom has demonstrated these opportunities through Bukadev. I must emphasize that the kingdom has this development tool called the Buganda Culture and Development Foundation, which is helping the people of the Kabaka to know what they are supposed to do in agriculture and animal husbandry and other social areas which will help them to develop as people with income and healthy families. Bukadev is first buying and getting our communities to return to coffee farming. Coffee farming is one of the major components of the Buganda community and Uganda in general. The kingdom formed and registered, and as I said, has registered Mayanja Limited as a coffee buying company, helping our people to get a market and fair prices, and targeting to identify Mayanja is also targeting to identify partners to support large-scale stop centers for agro inputs. It will also be targeting to get good partners with whom probably these people in Europe can be of help, where they will partner to purchase all the coffee produced in Uganda for export and also for value addition. The kingdom, furthermore, through BICAL, as I said, our investment has set up opportunities for the partnership to ensure that each component of the value chain aids to improve the livelihoods of Buganda inhabitants. I thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, right. Ngenda kusaba mukulu muyimba gwabadde okola moderation eya katundu ako akanyomera ako, mbadde nkusaba otuwe ekibuuzo kimu oba bibiri ku lwa group yonna owekitiibwa Dr. Biddemu Hamis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muga, our MC tonight. Probably what I would request from the Owekitiibwa Kakomo is to elaborate more or to give some more light on many of the rural areas where we happen to pass when we go to our motherland. The banana producers seem to indicate a declining kind of food, maybe declining soil nutrients for viable banana production, especially for those local people. Is there any practical plan that has been put in place to ensure that the rural subsistence farmers are able at least to produce enough for their home supplies and maybe at a large scale.
Can I go ahead and answer? Hello?
Yes.
Kakati, ekibuuzo ekyo Obwakabaka nga bwe tukoze ku mmwanyi, we are trying our best to help the subjects of the kingdom to emphasize the growth of banana, one as a food for consumption and two as a source of income. So you are making arrangements through Mukade to make a deliberate policy to promote, one, to reclaim the existing banana plantations, and two, to encourage those who have not grown banana to do it, either through intercropping, as I mentioned in my submission, or through banana plantations as a single crop. And as you may have noted, for the last 3 years, while other communities have been crying of hunger, in Uganda we have been able to address the problem of hunger because we have deliberately told the people not only to grow coffee, but to grow it along with the banana. But in short, we have a deliberate program to emphasize and to re-energize the people of the kingdom to grow as many bananas as possible, because it is both an income generator and also a source of food. I thank you very much.
Webale nnyo, webale ddala. Mukulu Mayimba, onayo extra question before we move on?
No, I think we better move on. Thank you.
Tudduka emisinde gyayiriiri, gwe akatweyungako eno ye Buganda Convention eyo ya 2020 tutunulira Buganda 2050 eneeba etya.